Welcome to the Valutis assessment process. This video will provide you with a brief overview of the assessments most frequently used. When you visit the assessment links, there will be specific instructions for each assessment you are asked to complete, but this video will quickly highlight the various assessments. The first assessment you may be asked to complete is the Occupational Personality Questionnaire, or OPQ. This is a personality assessment which relates to the workplace and measures your preferred or typical behavior at work. The assessment contains 230 items and asks you to rate how much you agree or disagree with the various statements on a 5-point scale. When taking this assessment, be sure to answer the questions based on your actual preferences at work, not what you think we want to hear. This assessment is not timed and typically takes between 30 and 40 minutes to complete. Since it is not timed, it does not need to be completed in one sitting. You can close out of the browser at any time and your progress will be saved. The next assessment you may be asked to complete is the Watson-Glaser Critical Thinking Appraisal. This is a cognitive assessment which measures logical and analytical reasoning. This assessment is broken up into 5 different sections, and each section has its own set of instructions as well as some sample questions. This assessment is also not timed and typically takes between 30 and 45 minutes to complete. Again, you can close out of the browser at any time and your progress will be saved. The next assessment you may be asked to complete is the Thurstone Test of Mental Alertness. This is also a cognitive assessment and it measures verbal and numerical problem-solving abilities. This assessment contains 126 questions, so you will not get through them all in the time allowed. You are scored on the number of items you answer correctly, so you want to try and move fairly quickly, not spending too much time on any one question. If you don't know something, you can skip over it and go on to the next question. This assessment has a 20-minute time period, and there will be a timer running on your browser as soon as you start the assessment. Since it is timed, you must finish this in one sitting. Another assessment you may be asked to complete is the Inventory for Work Attitude and Motivation. This is a workplace questionnaire which measures your attitudes and beliefs about work. Like the OPQ, you want to be sure you answer the questions from a workplace perspective. This assessment has 40 questions, and each question lists a group of 5 statements and asks you to rearrange them from most like you to least like you. This is not timed and typically takes about 20 to 25 minutes to complete, but this one must be completed in one sitting. This does also come in a separate email, and sometimes it gets filtered as spam, so be sure to check your spam folder if you do not see it in your inbox. These are the typical assessments used, but depending on the position, you may be asked to complete an additional assessment or 2. Depending on the position, one of the assessments you may be asked to complete is the Mechanical Reasoning Assessment. This is a cognitive assessment which measures your understanding of basic mechanical principles and devices. This assessment contains 45 questions, and you may or may not get through all of them in the time period allowed. This is another 20-minute timed assessment, so there will be a timer running on your browser as soon as you start, and it must be completed in one sitting. Another assessment you may be asked to complete is the Numerical Reasoning Assessment. This is a cognitive assessment which measures your ability to make correct decisions or inferences from numerical or statistical data. This assessment contains 18 questions, and again, you may or may not get through all of them in the 20-minute time period. Like the other assessments, this must be completed in one sitting. With this assessment, you are allowed to use a calculator, so you want to be sure you have one before getting started. While these are the most frequently used assessments, the specific battery of assessments will vary on an individual basis. As mentioned previously, there will be specific instructions for each assessment once you visit the links, but if you have any additional questions, do not hesitate to contact us at 716-634-2553 or send us an email.